Imagine waking up every single morning at the age of 70, 75, or even 80 years old, feeling energized, strong, and completely confident that your heart is working perfectly, pumping life through every single cell in your body without struggle, without pain, and without fear. That image is not a fantasy. That image is not something reserved only for the genetically blessed or the extraordinarily lucky. That image is something that science, medicine, and decades of careful research have now confirmed is absolutely achievable for any person who makes the right choices about how they move their body every single day. The secret does not live inside an expensive pill bottle. The secret does not require a luxury gym membership or a personal trainer who charges hundreds of dollars per hour. The secret lies inside 5 very specific, very accessible, and very powerful exercises that have been proven time and again to protect, strengthen, and support the human heart even as the body moves through its 7th, 8th, and 9th decades of life. Now, before we go any further, I want to acknowledge something that many people over the age of 70 feel when they hear the word exercise: fear, real, genuine fear. Because somewhere along the way, many of us were told, either by well-meaning family members, cautious friends, or perhaps even overly conservative medical advice from years past, that exercise after a certain age becomes dangerous, that the heart is too fragile, that the joints are too worn, that pushing the body even a little bit could trigger a cardiac event that might never recover from. That narrative, that deeply embedded and widely believed narrative, has caused enormous harm. It has kept millions of older adults sedentary, isolated from their own physical potential, and ironically far more vulnerable to the very heart problems they were trying to avoid. Because here's what we now know with absolute certainty. Inactivity is not protection. Inactivity is risk. When an aging body stops moving, the cardiovascular system begins to weaken in ways that are predictable, measurable, and genuinely dangerous. The heart muscle itself, which is exactly that, a muscle, begins to lose its strength and efficiency. Blood vessels become less flexible and more prone to dangerous pressure buildups. Cholesterol imbalances worsen. Blood sugar regulation deteriorates. Inflammation throughout the body increases, and the overall resilience of the cardiovascular system, its ability to handle stress, surprise, and sudden demand, drops significantly. All of this happens not because the person exercised too much, but because they exercised too little. So the real question is not whether a person over 70 should exercise. The real question is which exercises are most appropriate, most effective, and most safe for this particular stage of life. And that is precisely what we are going to explore together today. 5 exercises, 5 movements, 5 practices that have been carefully studied, widely endorsed by cardiovascular specialists worldwide, and confirmed to deliver powerful heart health benefits without placing unnecessary strain, risk, or danger on the aging body. The first of these 5 exercises is walking. And before anyone dismisses this as too simple, too obvious, or too easy to be meaningful, I want to invite you to hold that thought and truly listen to what the research reveals about this extraordinary activity. Walking is arguably the most perfectly designed cardiovascular exercise for the human body at any age, but particularly after the age of 70. It is low impact, which means it does not create the jarring, repetitive stress on joints and connective tissue that running or jumping might produce. It is rhythmic, which means it encourages smooth, steady blood flow that supports the heart rather than shocks it. It is adjustable, meaning every single person can walk at exactly the right pace for their own current fitness level, slowing down when needed and gradually increasing effort as strength and endurance improve over time. What makes walking so profoundly beneficial for the aging heart is not dramatic. It is consistent. When a person walks at a moderate pace for 30 minutes most days of the week, the cumulative cardiovascular benefits are remarkable. The heart gradually becomes more efficient at pumping blood. Resting heart rate tends to decrease over time, which is actually a sign of greater cardiac strength and health. Blood pressure often improves significantly. The blood vessels themselves become more flexible and responsive, and the risk of developing serious cardiovascular events, including heart attack and stroke, decreases meaningfully with every week of consistent walking maintained. For those over 70 who may have been sedentary for some time, starting with even 10 or 15 minutes of gentle walking is perfectly valid and genuinely valuable. The key is not speed, the key is not distance, the key is consistency and gradual progression. Walking outdoors brings the added benefits of fresh air, natural light exposure, which supports healthy circadian rhythms and mood regulation, and gentle sensory stimulation that supports overall brain health as well. Walking with a friend or a group adds a social dimension that research consistently connects to better heart health outcomes. This seemingly simple activity is, in truth, one of the most powerful cardiovascular medicines available to any human being over the age of 70. The second exercise is swimming or water-based movement. Water exercise holds a very special position in the world of senior cardiovascular fitness because it achieves something that very few other forms of exercise can match. It allows the body to work significantly and meaningfully against resistance, which strengthens the heart and the muscles surrounding and supporting it, while simultaneously removing almost all of the weight-bearing stress that makes many forms of land-based exercise uncomfortable or risky for older joints, bones, and connective tissues. When a person enters a pool and begins moving through water, whether swimming laps, walking through the shallow end, performing gentle water aerobics, or simply moving their arms and legs against the gentle resistance the water provides, they are giving their cardiovascular system a genuine workout. The heart rate increases appropriately. Blood flow improves throughout the entire body. Lung capacity is challenged and strengthened, and all of this happens in an environment that is fundamentally forgiving, supportive, and safe. The buoyancy of water reduces the effective weight of the body by a significant percentage, meaning that a person who might find walking on pavement painful or difficult because of arthritis, joint replacement, or bone density concerns can move freely, comfortably, and effectively in the water. There's also something profoundly calming about water-based exercise. The sensory experience of water movement reduces cortisol levels, which is critically important for heart health because chronic stress and chronically elevated cortisol are genuinely damaging to the cardiovascular system over time. People who engage in regular water-based exercise tend to report better sleep, lower anxiety, and an overall sense of physical and emotional well-being that itself contributes to better heart health outcomes across the long term. For older adults who want a cardiovascular workout that is kind to their bodies while still being truly effective for their hearts, swimming and water exercise represent an almost ideal solution. The third exercise is cycling, and specifically stationary cycling, for those who prefer or require an indoor option. Cycling is a beautifully efficient cardiovascular exercise for the aging heart because it elevates the heart rate into beneficial training zones while placing virtually no impact stress on the joints of the lower body. Unlike walking or running, cycling is a fully supported movement, meaning the seat bears a significant portion of the body's weight, and the circular motion of pedaling is smooth, continuous, and joint-friendly in ways that other exercises simply cannot match. For someone over 70, cycling, whether outdoors on a traditional bicycle with appropriate safety precautions and a properly fitted helmet, or indoors on a stationary recumbent bike which offers even greater back and hip support, provides sustained cardiovascular training that directly benefits the heart. Regular cycling has been shown in multiple large-scale studies to reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease, improve heart rate variability, which is an important marker of heart health, lower blood pressure, improve HDL cholesterol levels, and significantly enhance overall cardiovascular endurance. The fact that a person can cycle for 20, 30, or even 45 minutes while reading a book, watching TV, or listening to music on a stationary bike removes many of the barriers that make outdoor exercise less appealing on cold, rainy, or excessively hot days. Stationary recumbent cycling in particular deserves special mention for older adults because the reclined, supported seating position reduces strain on the lower back and makes the exercise accessible even for individuals who might have balance concerns or spinal issues that complicate upright activities. This is not a compromised version of real exercise. This is a genuinely powerful cardiovascular training tool that has earned its place in cardiac rehabilitation programs in hospitals and medical centers worldwide precisely because it works so effectively and so safely for the aging heart. The fourth exercise is yoga, specifically gentle or chair-based yoga that is specifically designed with older adults and cardiac sensitivity in mind. Now, some people may be surprised to see yoga on a list of exercises that benefit the heart, because yoga is not typically associated with elevated heart rates or intense cardiovascular effort, and that is precisely the point. The benefit that yoga provides to the aging cardiovascular system comes not primarily through aerobic challenge, but through a different and equally important pathway, which is the profound reduction of physiological stress and the improvement of nervous system regulation. The human heart does not only suffer from too little exercise, it also suffers enormously from too much stress. Chronic psychological and physiological stress elevates blood pressure, promotes inflammation, disrupts sleep, encourages unhealthy eating patterns, and directly strains the cardiovascular system in ways that accumulate dangerously over years and decades. For many people over 70, stress is a significant and underappreciated risk factor for heart problems. The accumulated weight of life transitions, loss, health concerns, financial pressures, family changes, and the anxiety that can accompany aging itself creates a chronic stress burden that quietly and consistently damages cardiovascular health. Yoga, practiced regularly and gently, addresses this stress burden with remarkable effectiveness. The combination of mindful breathing, slow and deliberate movement, focused attention, and deep relaxation that characterizes a well-designed yoga practice activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the body's natural counterbalance to the stress response. Blood pressure decreases during and after yoga practice. Heart rate variability improves. Cortisol levels drop. Inflammatory markers in the blood tend to decrease over time in regular yoga practitioners, and the quality of sleep, which is itself one of the most important regulators of cardiovascular health, typically improves significantly in people who practice yoga consistently. Chair yoga, which adapts all traditional yoga postures and breathing exercises to be performed while seated in a stable chair, makes this practice completely accessible even for older adults with significant mobility limitations, balance challenges, or recovery from recent health events. There's no requirement to get down on the floor, to balance on one leg, or to perform any movement that feels unsafe or uncomfortable. The practice meets every individual exactly where they are and offers profound cardiovascular and overall health benefits from that meeting point. The fifth exercise is resistance training with light weights or resistance bands, performed slowly, mindfully, and with careful attention to breathing and form. This might seem like the most counterintuitive entry on our list, because many people over 70 associate weight training with the heavy, grunting, intensity-focused culture of gyms that seems designed for young people seeking large muscles and athletic performance. But the form of resistance training that belongs in a heart-healthy senior fitness program looks absolutely nothing like that. It is slow, it is controlled, it is deliberate, and its benefits for the cardiovascular system are profound and well documented. When older adults perform light resistance exercises using small dumbbells, household items like water bottles, or elastic resistance bands, the muscles of the body are required to work against a moderate challenge. This type of muscular work has direct cardiovascular benefits that go beyond what many people realize. First, it helps maintain and build lean muscle mass, which naturally decreases with age. Greater muscle mass improves the body's ability to regulate blood sugar, which is critically important for heart health because blood sugar dysregulation is one of the leading drivers of cardiovascular disease in older adults. Second, resistance training improves the body's overall metabolic efficiency, which means the heart does not have to work as hard to maintain circulation and energy delivery throughout the body. Third, and perhaps most importantly for those with concerns about blood pressure, light resistance training performed with proper breathing techniques and moderate effort levels has been shown to actually lower resting blood pressure over time, not raise it. The critical element here is the word light. Extremely heavy resistance that requires maximal or near maximal effort, breath holding, and intense straining is not appropriate for most people over 70, particularly those with any existing cardiovascular concerns. But light to moderate resistance, performed for 8 to 15 repetitions per exercise, with normal steady breathing maintained throughout, and with rest periods between sets, is genuinely safe and genuinely valuable for the aging heart. Working with a trained fitness professional, even for just a few sessions to establish proper form and appropriate resistance levels, can make this practice both maximally beneficial and maximally safe. Now, bringing these 5 exercises together, walking, swimming, cycling, yoga, and light resistance training, creates something that is greater than the sum of its parts. A comprehensive, balanced, and age-appropriate approach to cardiovascular health that addresses fitness from multiple directions simultaneously. The aerobic exercises, walking, swimming, and cycling, directly train the heart and blood vessels. Yoga addresses the nervous system and stress pathways that so profoundly influence cardiovascular health. And resistance training supports the metabolic and muscular systems that the heart depends upon for efficient operation. The most important principle connecting all 5 of these exercises is the principle of consistency over intensity. One dramatic workout per month does nothing meaningful for cardiovascular health. But gentle, consistent, regular movement across all 5 of these categories, even at modest levels of effort, creates a cumulative cardiovascular benefit that compounds over weeks, months, and years into a genuinely powerful protection against heart disease, heart attack, and stroke. For anyone listening who is over 70 or who has a parent, grandparent, spouse, or friend over 70, the message I want to leave you with is this: it is not too late. It is never too late. The cardiovascular system retains a remarkable capacity for improvement and adaptation at virtually any age when given the right stimulus through appropriate exercise. People in their 70s, 80s, and even 90s who begin exercising appropriately show measurable improvements in heart function, blood pressure, cholesterol profiles, and overall cardiovascular health. The body wants to be strong, the heart wants to work efficiently. And these 5 exercises are among the most powerful gifts you can give to your heart no matter how many years it has already beaten faithfully on your behalf. Start with 1. Start with 10 minutes of walking around your neighborhood. Start with a gentle yoga breathing exercise in your living room chair. Start with a few bicep curls using a light water bottle while seated at your kitchen table. The starting point does not have to be impressive. It simply has to be a beginning, because every great journey toward a stronger, healthier, longer beating heart begins with a single, simple, courageous step. Your heart has carried you through every experience, every challenge, every joy, and every triumph of your entire life. It has never missed a beat in its commitment to keeping you alive and moving forward. Now, with these 5 exercises as your tools, you have the genuine power to carry it forward in return, to protect it, to strengthen it, to give it the movement, the care, and the consistent attention it has always deserved, and in doing so, to give yourself more years, more energy, more independence, and more of the vibrant, active life that every person at every age fully and completely deserves to live. Thank you for watching Dr. Mark Official. I'm Dr. Mark, and I hope this helped you take one more step toward better health and balance. Stay safe, stay active, and I'll see you in the next video.